Egg Havencraft, a deck you're probably familiar with if you play Shadowverse Evolve. But digital-only players often ask me, what is it? And why do I keep hearing about it? How is such a funnily named archetype actually a meta threat? And why might it matter for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond? And the reason why they ask me that is because Egg Havencraft never existed. Not in digital Shadowverse anyway, since it relies on a few key mechanics first introduced in Shadowverse Evolve. However, some of those mechanics are coming to Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, so digital-only players, make sure to stay informed. But first, you can also make sure to like the video and subscribe. It really does help out. While Egg Havencraft is essentially an entirely new archetype, it shares a lot of the same cards as a very old Havencraft deck from back in the day of digital Shadowverse, neutral Havencraft from the Wonderland Dreams era. But most of the cards have been adapted with very different effects compared to how they were in the digital game all the way back in 2017. Here's a sample deck list of Egg Havencraft, so feel free to screenshot now or come back to this timestamp later, but I thought I'd go through the key cards that make the deck work and compare and contrast them to what they did in digital Shadowverse to show the difference. Firstly, the eponymous eggs of Egg Havencraft. In digital Shadowverse, Humpty Dumpty just dealt 3 damage to all followers, including itself, and Explosion just dealt 3 damage to all followers, but as a spell, really nothing too flashy. But Shadowverse Evolve takes these silly cards and makes them into meta powerhouses. Now, Humpty Dumpty does 5 damage to everything on Evolve, and 3 damage to the enemy leader, but at the cost of discarding your entire hand. Meanwhile, Explosion does damage equal to the number of Humpty Dumptys and Explosions in your cemetery to all enemies, for a maximum of 6 damage AoE if the whole carton is cracked. And in Shadowverse Evolve, wide AoE clears are even more valuable due to not being able to attack followers that aren't engaged. So having that and going face is amazing. Of course, Humpty Dumpty discarding your hand can accelerate this count by putting eggs into the cemetery right away, making this effect ramp fast. But Igni, you might ask, isn't discarding your hand a huge cost? Well, you would normally be right, but Shadowverse Evolve has a mechanic that Shadowverse Digital currently doesn't, the EX area. There's essentially a zone with 5 slots that acts as a second hand, just one that your opponent can see. If you can stuff your EX area with cards, even if your hand goes away, you'll still have cards to play. And that's exactly how the eggs can get ya. If you played the Wonderland Dreams era of Shadowverse, you'll be very familiar with Alice Wonderland Explorer. But she behaves a lot differently to how she was in digital, albeit being just as powerful. Rather than buffing neutral followers, she synergizes with Fable cards. In Shadowverse Evolve, every card has a trait, and in general, the Wonderland themed cards interact with the Fable trait rather than neutrals like they did in the digital game. And oh boy does she work with Fables, as on Evolve, she pulls Fables from the top into your EX area. I think you see where I'm going with this. By filling your EX area with Alice, you can burn your opponent with the eggs and still have gas in the tank. Now, it's time for where this all links to Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. We know for a fact that activated abilities are coming to the new game, and it's a mechanic first introduced in Shadowverse Evolve and utilized insanely well by Alice here. She enters the field with a Fable counter, and she has an activated ability that can move the Fable counter to another friendly Fable follower in play or in the EX area with no other cost. In Shadowverse Evolve, Tin Soldier uses an activated ability to spend Fable counters that it holds to deal damage. So as you can probably guess, an example game plan can go as follows. Evolve Alice to bring out Tin Soldier to the EX area, then you use the activated ability to move the Fable counter from Alice to the Tin Soldier, play Humpty Dumpty Evolve to clear and burn. You don't have a hand, but it doesn't matter because Tin Soldier comes out from your EX area and deals more burn, and you even have cards like Piney and Prince and also March Hare's Tea Time's activated ability to recycle cards from your cemetery that you might have tossed by playing the egg to do this plan over and over and over. Finish it off with an Eggsplosion to make your opponent crack. So yes, they made the funny egg deck a meta threat. And just knowing that activated abilities are coming in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond makes my imagination run wild with possibilities. Picturing the sunny side of the potential depth of play. Will we get something similar in digital Shadowverse someday? Who knows? Maybe we'll be scrambling to figure out something like Egg Havencraft in Worlds Beyond very soon, but one thing's for sure. Egg Havencraft is in Shadowverse Evolve, and it's not going to be over easy.